What's up, everybody? Welcome back for another episode of The Conversation. Tonight, I wanted to pay tribute to one of my favorite small house indie niche brands. I actually wanted to dedicate the video to a good buddy of mine. I'll call him Red for the purpose of the video. Red, I wanted to show you, one, the fragrance you were interested in from the house, but I also wanted to show you just the full presentation, full experience, house of City Rhythm Fragrances. Now, City Rhythm Fragrances owner Niles, shout out to you, Niles. I'll make sure to tag him in the video description below. But I discovered City Rhythm House some years ago, actually. The seller included a decant of City Rhythm Miami. It was my first experience of the house, and I pretty much fell in love with it just off that decant. It wasn't till many years later, at least 2.5 years later, that I got my first bottle. But City Rhythm Miami is still probably my favorite from the house, and that is the bottle that you're interested in. So I'm going to start off with just that one, but I'm going to show you, starting off with the decant presentation. You know, Red, that I'm a proponent for sampling and trying things out for yourself before you invest into a bottle. In fact, I insist on it. Niles has a excellent decant service right available on his website. All right. So here's the actual spelling of it. Make sure you get it. That's focusing there. City Rhythm Fragrances by Niles. Just go ahead and type that in. You'll be able to find it right on the internet. Right on Google. It should pop right out. This is the decant discovery set, if you will. It is customizable. So I believe there is a limit to, see, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 per pack. Now, for these, you can, like, as I said, you can just select which ones that you wanted to grab in the decant pack. And the decants are like $7 a piece. So very reasonable, very reasonable. You can get your hands on them. This is the sleeve comes on. They're all nicely tucked right in there. He has a multitude of offerings in the house. I suggest that you get started just trying things out. That said, though, like I told you before, I already have a decant made for you that I pulled from one of my bottles. But I'll show you that presentation very shortly. So, if you should get a sample and you enjoy it, and you go on from there, the full bottle presentations will come in a box, something like this. I'm a big fan of the evolutions that he's done. Like I said, I told you before, this is a USA brand, small indie niche house. Seal approval there. Like I said, don't mind that. There's a little sticker there. USA made. Very nice. Lovely done. All the details in the package. Like I said here, there's a stamp right there. And as I explained to you before, Red, the entire brand is based around his travels, places around the world. Now, as a traveler, and he incorporates those experiences, those places, into the fragrances, quite literally. So, magnetic sealed. You can get a little click right there. But your bottles will come secured in a little case like this. Nice little satin lining with a description right here. This gives you the little backstory of the brand itself. Just a little camera. Feel free to freeze it, read it up later, yada yada. But that is the general presentation that his bottles will come in. I highly suggest it, as you know. I have several for myself. But on to the actual bottles in question. The one that you enjoyed, you smelled on mine, that day was City Rhythm Miami. City Rhythm Miami. Now, to give you a brief breakdown, right? I've had 3 bottles of Miami. I gave one to a loved one, but I still have 2. I'm going to give you the first presentation just to give you an idea of how far he's come. Right. So this is one of the original bottles. Right. Quite literally, Miami. Think literally, walking the beach, boardwalk, Miami. That's the mental space. Try to keep in mind. You remember how it smelled on me, so don't get caught up too much in the notes as I go through them. Yeah. This is the original presentation. The bottles you will get will look more like this. A little side-by-side comparison. I'm a fan of both. I love keeping this one. Try not to spray too much out of this one. Actually, that's why I moved on. Order this just so I can keep this. I like kind of. I told you I'm weird. I like seeing a maturation. But City Rhythm Miami. You can see all the little details, including the little range there in the bottom. New caps, sprayers. I love the design of the new bottles now. Also, you know, I'll keep my eye out for the other ones as well. But time for a little spray, shall we? As Josh would say, off screen. Man, this is, yeah, it's still definitely one of my favorites for the brand. So let's get to the notes, shall we? Now, Miami, it literally embodies walking the beach of Florida. That Miami sunset. Now, I personally think this is a unisex fragrance. Unisex meaning it smells good across the board. I don't think it leans particularly masculine or particularly feminine. Right down the middle. And its composition, I think, is what allows it to do that. Now, people don't get distracted by the notes that I'm about to bring up. It's the vibe that it has to it and how it dances in the air around you. We call that the sillage, right? So, red. Here's a little notes. I should include this as well because, honestly, I love it. I told you it's based on travel, right? So, his note cards that he includes with each of your bottles are in the style of a postcard, like you would travel or mail to someone. This is Miami's. Lord have mercy. Shine. There we go. City Rhythm Miami. That is the story and breakdown of it. And this is the detailed notes. There we go. So, just to read them off from the top. City Rhythm Miami. The initial burst, we call that the opening, our top notes. That's coconut, lime, and saffron. The middle part, that means once it's had time to sit on your skin and just work a little bit, there's a opening, that opening blast that you just saw, that first spray, that's what you generally smell. Atomizer. Words. But the middle portion, when it dries down on the skin, we call it the heart. Heart of the fragrance comes along sugarcane, ylang ylang, jasmine, and osmanthus. The base, or the bottom notes, these are the things that usually give it its lasting power, longevity, things that make it stick. And sometimes my favorite part of the fragrance. The bottom, the base of Miami is rum, ambergris, tonka bean, cedar, and get this, tobacco leaf. Like I said, don't get caught up on the notes because that probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense in comparison to what you smelled. But here's the beauty of it, right? So Miami, that initial blast of it, what you usually smell off of me is the beautiful mix between your coconut, lime, saffron, and a little bit of that rum. And I don't want to say tobacco comes through at the opening, but a little more basis. A little more of the base comes out on my skin. Now, usually here you're smelling after a couple hours of it sitting in, right? Sitting in. But it's Niall's use of the coconut and the rum blend in particular. He uses that a lot with several other fragrances. And there's a reason why I love this. It's one of my go-tos for summer. It's one of my go-tos for easy hot weather. As you guys know, we are now in that time. It's nice, humid, and hot, finally. May not last very long, but it is here. City Rhythm Miami. It's my first love of the house. It still is a main love of the house for me. Now, I wanted to introduce one other fragrance because it's one that I was wearing as well. And I guess I should dedicate this portion to a nickname for him. Okay. So I'll just call him my other frag buddy for the purpose of the video. So to my other frag buddy, the one that you were smelling on me, is actually a hybrid fragrance. Now Niles has started introducing this sort of DNA to the brand. So brief backstory on that. Same presentation, same style bottles, juice is a little different. But this one is actually a hybrid between City Rhythms Miami and San Diego. San Diego is one that I don't necessarily have a bottle of in yet. But this one, City Rhythm 2654. Now this one is based on the flight miles between Miami and San Diego. See right there on the bottom. Now, splice between the two is very unique and very, very enjoyable, as I know you will recognize and remember from, again, the way it smelled. Niles, just a quick side note, people really do love a lot from your brand coming off of me. They smell it. And I've got to do a dedicated video just trying to cover the house. I'll work on that eventually. But for now, let's do a little bit of a breakdown. This also comes with postcard style notes with a story. Right? Detailed list of it right there. We'll go through all the notes and everything else. But just to give you an idea of the notes that are spliced between these. So that same coconut, lime, saffron-y thing going on in Miami, imagine that, but introduced with parts of San Diego. This is where the juniper berry, the blood orange, and still have like a almost vanillic musky thing, in addition to the ambergris and of course the floral and rum notes fusing together. That's some of the stuff you were smelling that day. In fact, if I remember correctly now, it was like 4 different people that complimented that one. It really does work. Again, it's the fusion between Miami and San Diego. Of course, I don't have a bottle of San Diego to show, but you guys kind of have an idea of the presentation for the brand. But that is City Rhythm Miami. Samples are available on the site. You can get them in this form that I showed earlier. They come in 10 mLs. He also has 50 ml bottles and 100 ml bottles. The bottles that I showed before are 100s. This is the size of your 50 mLs. Same style bottle, just small. City Rhythm Miami is definitely one of my favorite small Indian springs. By Niles. Keep on the lookout for those releases. I know I am. And hope this video helps. Hope you give you an idea of what it is you're looking for. Those are the things that you smell on. And like I said, I love them. I have samples ready for you as well. And